So welcome everyone. I'll give it a couple of minutes for people to join us. We have people jumping in on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and typically we have people from all around the world joining us. So it might be morning, it could be afternoon, midday, evening, depending where you are. So welcome to this guided meditation, and I would love to know where in the world you're joining us from. So feel free to share in the comment section or the chat section. And we'll get started shortly. For those that don't know me, I'm Gillian, and I lead these Thursday guided meditations. 9 a.m. Pacific every Thursday, although I will be going on maternity leave in a few weeks from now. So we'll have, I think, 2 or 3 more sessions here together. But I'll keep you posted on the exact date. But we also have a colleague who also works with Mindfulness Exercises, Sarah May. She leads the Monday meditations. Those are at 8 a.m. Pacific. And I am currently in Sweden. It's very hot, 35 degrees here today, and I'm from Toronto, Canada. So welcome everyone. We have Shay in Washington, D.C. area, Zoe in Kansas City, someone joining on LinkedIn in Arkansas. We have Ahmad in London, Carrie in Central Pennsylvania, another person joining on LinkedIn. I can't see your name, but joining from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Marie Carmen is in Mexico, I believe. That's the flag. Fiona's in Atlanta, I think. Manuela is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Melissa, Columbia, Missouri. We have someone on LinkedIn joining from India. Hello, Lesbia. Nice to see you again. Leslie is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Carla is in Tampa. Hello. Katerina says good morning from Los Angeles. Carrie in Pittsburgh. Thank you for the congratulations. Monica is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Leslie in Colorado. Bridget is in Fontana, California. Thank you, Melissa. Angeline is in NYC. Tony from New Jersey at 12:02 p.m. Hot here as well. Nice breeze at the Bayside. Beautiful. I'm glad you're getting some wind. It's a bit stuffy here in this house today. Actually, I might open the door before we get started. Bridget is in Canada. Ben is in Nashville. Jessica is on YouTube, joining from New York. Naji says hi, YouTube as well. Matthew's in Kentucky. Bhavna, namaste from Scotland. Ahmad, London is boiling, miss our rain. Renuka, hello from Nepal. Sue is in Maryland. Ricardo says morning from Colombia. Collins, hi from Nigeria. Robin is in Alabama. Hello, Diane from Nova Scotia. Swati is in Canada. Rustam is from country of Mount Everest, birthplace of the Buddha. So welcome everyone. I am just going to crack this door open, let a little bit of wind in, and you might get some nature sounds as we move along. Adam is in Lancashire, England. Nice to meet you. Glad we share the same space. Beautiful. So welcome everyone, and I'm sure there's more people that haven't shared in the comments. You're welcome to engage as much or as little as you like in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Akash is from India. Welcome. Amish from India as well. So today we will be doing a loving kindness practice. Is anyone familiar with loving kindness practice? If you want to just type in the chat saying yes or no, or what your level of experience is whether you have a lot or a little bit of experience with loving kindness, or what in Buddhism would be called metta meditation. That's what we'll be exploring today. And it's a beautiful practice to cultivate our innate capacity for compassion for others and for ourselves as well. So Shay sends a check mark. Mary says first time. Cherish says good day, everyone. Rachel Wilmington, welcome. Robin says work with it in my Reiki practice. Tony, not really. Renuka, yes. Cherish, I do a daily informal metta practice. Adam does all kinds of meditation. Leslie, first time. Bridget, first time. Zoe, a little bit of knowledge. First time for Bhavna. So it looks like we really have a mix. So for some people, this is your first time. Raquel is familiar with this practice. So some of you will know what this practice typically entails and where we're going with this, and others are new to it. And I hope that either way, even when we're familiar with the practice, it always lands with us in a new way on any given day, in any given moment. So the invitation is just to cultivate a sense of presence and openness and curiosity, and to allow your sense of compassion to naturally arise. So we're not here to force anything. We're just tuning into that part of our humanity that naturally wishes others well. So we will get started, and as usual, we'll have time to share reflections. I can answer any questions you might have after the practice. But I imagine typically the meditation portion of the session is about 20 minutes, give or take. So we'll see how long it takes us today. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. And you can just take a moment to get settled into your comfortable seated position. Just lengthening the spine, softening your shoulders. Maybe taking a couple of clearing or deep breaths. And gently closing the eyes whenever you feel ready. And alternatively, you can have your gaze soft towards the floor. Just take a moment to let yourself arrive here. So though you are already physically occupying your space, can you let your mind drop into your body, maybe all the way down the length of your spine? Just really sensing into the surface beneath you. Feeling yourself supported by the earth and by this invisible yet ever-present force of gravity. And check in with your breath, just noticing its natural flow into and out of your body. So you're not trying to change the breath in any way, just observing its natural flow into and out of your nostrils. Likening the breath to a wave that gently moves into and out of the shore of your body. And then see if you can sense the breath as it flows through the heart space. The energetic heart, which is the seat of our capacity for compassion, for care, for kindness, forgiveness, and patience. Just taking a few mindful breaths into and out of the heart. And then call to mind somebody in your life that you love and that you care for. Could be a family member or friend, child or an elder, or it could be your pet. An animal that you love. Any being that you naturally feel this sense of love and care and compassion for. Just sense into this person. You might have a visual of them in your mind's eye, or you might simply be sensing their presence. And with this person in your mind and in your heart, silently repeat, may you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. May you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. Sensing into this person for just a few more breaths and noting if there's any other compassionate wishes you'd like to offer this person or this animal. And gently let your sense of them fade as you ground through a couple of breaths through the heart. And then calling into your awareness somebody in your life you feel neutral towards. Perhaps someone you know but not too well. Could be someone who lives down the street or a coworker, someone you see at your local cafe. And with this person in your awareness, silently repeating, may you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. May you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. And just sensing if there are any other warm wishes you would like to offer to this person, and silently sharing them in your mind. And slowly letting your awareness of this person fade as you watch the breath for a few cycles as it moves into and out of the heart space. And then calling to mind somebody in your life who you have mild or moderate difficulties with. Maybe differences of opinion, but a relationship that is maybe at a difficulty level of 4 on a scale from 1 to 10. So nothing too difficult to call forth. And bring this person to mind and to heart and see if you can sense into the humanity at the core of this person beneath your differences. And seeing if you can offer the same well wishes to this person. May you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. May you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. So noticing what that's like as you sense into the humanity at the core of this person, beneath any differences you might have. And seeing if there's any other compassionate wishes you would like to offer to this person. And letting your sense of them fade as you come back to the heart and the breath that moves through it. And then see if you can sense into humanity as a whole, or the earth as a whole. Sensing into all those who are sitting here meditating together, scattered across the world. And silently offering to the collective, may you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. May you be safe and supported. May you experience joy. May you be free from harm. May you know inner peace. And from this sense of humanity or the earth as a whole, see if you can call your awareness back into your own being, sensing yourself in this moment. Sensing the humanity that lives within and through you, in every cell of your being. Silently repeating, may I be safe and supported. May I experience joy. May I be free from harm. May I know inner peace. Maybe connecting a hand to your heart. And one last time, may I be safe and supported. May I experience joy. May I be free from harm. May I know inner peace. And send yourself any other compassionate wishes that you might uniquely need to hear in this moment. You are worthy of the same compassion that you offer to others. If your hand is on your heart, you can take your time to slowly let it come back down to your lap. And just take a few moments to reconnect with your breath. Breathing in any way that feels supportive in this moment. And then sensing into your connection with the earth or chair beneath you. expanding your sense of sound to reconnect with your environment through your ears. And in your own time, slowly opening your eyes whenever you're ready. So stretching out your shoulders, your hands, your ankles, and just taking your time to come back. So if you'd like to share in the chat section how that was for you, I would love to hear your reflections on this practice. Um, whether you're new to it, whether you're quite familiar with it. Again, this practice can land differently with us on different days. We all have a unique experience with this. And again, that changes for each one of us individually as well. So whatever came up for you, if it was difficult, if it was effortless, if it was somewhere in between, I would love to hear. If there were any certain specific affirmations that resonated most with you, let me know. Or, if there were any words that you uniquely needed to offer yourself today in this moment, I would love to hear that as well. So anything at all. Yeah, we had a few people join us just in time. Welcome, Martha. I'm glad you made it. Melissa said, always meditate with my Norwegian dwarf bunny, Nigel. Beautiful. So I wonder if your bunny was the being that came to mind when you first called forth somebody that you love and you care for. I often, one of my go-tos is always one of my dogs. And I spoke with a group about this maybe a month or so ago, about how often it's through animals that we immediately are able to tune into that sense of unconditional care and compassion, and then we can often expand out from there, but that's often a beautiful place to start. Jenny said, thank you, Gillian, that was lovely. Martha said, this has been lovely. Thanks, all of you. Beautiful. Thank you both. We had someone else on LinkedIn say, thank you, just in time, made it. Beautiful. Tanya, with a wet face, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Yeah, compassion can bring us to tears for so many different reasons. I won't attempt to speculate what it was for you, because it's, so many different things can arise for us in this practice. But just in my own experience, this practice can bring up, bittersweet tears as I recognize ways that I haven't been compassionate with myself, or ways that I've been overly critical or judgmental of others, or ways that I haven't expressed my compassion to others. Sometimes we can go so long without having connected with the heart. We can live so frequently up in the head. I think so many of us are familiar with that, operating from a intellectual way of being. And so this practice can really remind us of what it's like to tune into the heart. Um, and so they can be bittersweet tears, they can be tears of joy. But I'm glad that you really enjoyed it, Tanya, and it brought something obviously very touching up for you. Ram said, good morning, thank you, good morning. Robin said, absolutely loved it, beautiful. LinkedIn user said, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry, there's I don't know why, maybe it's a privacy setting, but some people on LinkedIn, it doesn't show your name, so I apologize that I can't see it. Someone else on LinkedIn said, was just back from work and felt so good. Beautiful. Tanya said, I'm new to this and your subject matter was on point for me. Wet face, I needed that. Wonderful. Yeah, I think, can't speak for everyone, of course, but I think so many of us can use this loving kindness in our lives. Both in terms of loving kindness for ourselves, reconnecting with our own being, our own experience, our own complex and dynamic full humanity, however messy and difficult it can be, connecting with who we are with compassion, and also connecting with others with this enhanced or intentional calling forth of compassion. My experience and interpretation of the past few years is that, we've become collectively much more divided, disconnected from our ability to care from people that we might disagree with. And I often wonder, what would it be like if we could just tune into the humanity of people, if we just took that pause before responding, or if we notice a judgment arise, what would happen if we reconnect with the humanity at the core of another person that we might find difficult? How would that shift our own sense of well-being in relationship to this person? How would it shift the relationship itself? How would it shift the experience of the other person when we interact with them? And then ultimately, what is the ripple effect of that on the rest of the world? What example would we be setting by meeting people with even just a little bit more compassion than we might otherwise? And sometimes it's incredibly difficult to do this, and that's why this really is a practice. This is not about ignoring our differences or avoiding difficult conversations. It's not to sugarcoat things that are difficult, but it's, for me, I think it's like to bring into balance, bring the head, the analytical mind into balance, and to reconnect with the heart of others and with myself. So, just coming back to Tanya, your statement about the subject matter being on point. I think this is well suited for these times. Tony said, it was first time and great feeling, interrupted by some dogs, but still stayed focused to the end. Yeah, I know the dog interruption. Actually, this was one of the first of these live sessions in a long time that my dogs didn't come up here. I often wonder if how much people can hear the tiptoeing of the little paws on the floor. But I'm glad that it was a great first experience of this kind of practice for you. That's wonderful. Neri said, create so much connection, peace, and gratitude. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it brings us back to, this humanity that we share. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the Just Like Me practice. See if I can find it and share a link. But it's a beautiful practice specifically for connecting with the core humanity of another person. I shared it in the channels there. You just head over to LinkedIn and post it there. But it's a beautiful practice that reminds us that, like, even amidst our differences, we are all bound by, our humanity. We are all yearning for the same things. We all have fears. We all have needs. We all wish for happiness. And so it's a beautiful practice for reconnection. So I shared, Sean Fargo does a guided practice of it, if for those that are interested, and gratitude as well. Absolutely. We can do this practice and remember that we are, not only are we sending love out to others, but we are also supported and cared for. So this compassion flows in multiple ways and directions. Diane said, thank you, very calming and cleansing, beautiful. And Robin on YouTube said, reminded me to let myself be open to be loved. That's a lovely, lovely reflection. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, with this practice, those who are familiar with it will know that often, I would say 80% of the times that I encounter this type of practice, we actually start with sensing into ourself and offering ourselves compassion before expanding into someone we love and someone we feel neutral towards, and so on and so forth. And I think the last time I did a loving kindness meditation for these live streams, that was what I did. And somebody commented, and this was not the first time that I've heard this, but many people have a hard time connecting with themselves from this compassionate place, calling forth this energy of compassion and offering it to themselves. It's quite difficult for people. So by changing the sequence, then we can sense into that care that we would offer to others, and then wrap ourselves back into that, recognizing that we too are human and deserving of love and care and compassion. And we're worthy of receiving love from others as well. It's one thing I love about these live streams, that we can, even if we don't know one another, and we're not physically connected, we can still send out love and support to other people. So I'm so glad, Robin, that it reminded you to be open to being loved. Let me see. Ben on LinkedIn said it was wonderful. Thank you. Tanya said, calling forth someone else in need brought tears to my eyes. Yeah, of course. Or yeah, that often happens, or it can happen. Yeah, again, it can be, the tears can be a mix of sadness and also joy as we reconnect with the heart. or somewhere in between. Sue said thanks. Melissa said yes, I think to something I said earlier. Diane said my dog is in the next room and snoring now. I wonder if the meditation put your dog to sleep. Often, in this room, my dog didn't come up today, but always comes up when I'm in here for these Thursday live streams, and I wonder if they can just pick up on the energy. Cherish said, after giving myself these beautiful wishes, I said to myself, I see you, I hear you, I love you. Beautiful. Those are some of my favorite affirmations. I see you, whatever we are experiencing, like before making it right or wrong or judging it to be good or bad. Like, can we just acknowledge it? Can we just say, I see you and I hear you and I love you no matter what, unconditionally. So thank you for sharing that, Cherish. Nice to see you as always. Bhavna said, beautiful, totally connected with the essence of the intentioned energy. I use it as part of my Reiki practice. I am familiar with the practice, but know it by a different name. Beautiful. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And that you have other ways of incorporating it into your life and your practice. Ricardo said, it helps me to connect the heart with the mind and it focuses you. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, I think this can really bridge the gap between head and heart, and help us drop into the heart. Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Ricardo. Melissa said, Nigel's my first prey pet. He's a good teacher. Pets are absolutely amazing teachers. They're such wonderful companions as well. Robin said, just trying to get through the day to day, up in the head. Yes, thank you for the reminder to live in the heart. Yeah, that reminds me of one thing that I often do in my meditation practice, personally, or sometimes when I'm guiding a meditation is, when you become aware that there's all these thoughts racing, or you're caught up in analyzing or rationalizing or planning, when your eyes are closed, actually to visualize this softening, this dropping down into the heart and anchoring your awareness in the heart for a few breaths. It just takes a few seconds. We can do it without being in a formal practice. But that's just one tip I can offer if that resonates with you or with anybody here. Tanya said, I'm experiencing so much deep stuff that I'm very grateful to have gotten this notification in time. Yes, see you again soon. Have a blessed day. Wonderful, Tanya. Yeah, hopefully I will connect with you again here. And often I find these things arise for us at just the right time. Melissa said, so very peaceful, wonderful. Babatunde said, mindful meditation is applicable. But I'm wondering if and how it can be practiced during tense situation that requires immediate attention, such as first responders. That is a fantastic question. I've never worked specifically in that type of high stress environment. But what I will say is, when we are mindful and aware of the present moment, we become better able to respond to what is here and now, typically speaking. We're not going to sit down in a formal meditation practice when we are faced with something that requires immediate action. Or if we are meditating and let's say the fire alarm goes off, our mindfulness is not about detaching from the world around us or not responding to what is needed. It's about showing up and being present, and being able to discern what the present moment requires. And I think that with practice over time, as we strengthen our formal practice, we're better able to show up with full presence, with a capacity to pay attention to what is before us, to what is needed, in a more grounded and resilient way. And this type of practice, a loving kindness practice, again, for first responders or people that work in very stressful environments or healthcare workers, this type of practice is, again, not something that we do when we are facing something where we need to engage the mind and where we need to respond and take action. But I think this practice can also help us to strengthen our compassion for others and for ourselves, first responders and healthcare workers. It is so important that they also take care of themselves and attune to their own needs. And because as we tend to our own needs, we develop the strength and the resilience to take care of others. So I hope that helps answer your question as best as I can, but I've never worked directly with this type of community of first responders. Tony said, use it to give strength to a neighbor who is traveling to help comfort someone at end of life. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. And it's such a beautiful example of how, each one of us, when we're practicing this type of meditation, we are all having different life experiences. We all know people going through different scenarios, and so we'll apply it to different people in different ways. And sometimes that, that's another reason why sometimes it brings up more tears than others. If we're connected with someone that we love who's really suffering, it can be hard to sit with that. But can we stay in the heart, and can we just offer our care through our energy as best we can? So thank you again for sharing that. Melissa said, I'm beginning a new chapter of elevated kindness. That's wonderful. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful intention to feel into, something that we can all use more of, I am sure. Wendy said, so freeing of tension generally. Each of the affirmations resonated in a soothing way. Thank you for this communal experience. Beautiful. I'm glad that the words resonated with you. And again, it's so, I love holding these online meditations. I really think it strengthens our practice to do it in community. We can't always, and it's great to, strengthen our capacity to do it on our own, because ultimately these are personal experiences, but it's so, so nice to connect with a group however we can and to practice together. Bhavna said, it's such a true practice that it's easy to connect at some level, whether we are aware of it or not. Absolutely. When we just drop into the body and let the mind soften, there is that innate capacity for compassion and connection in all of us. Because ultimately we are connected. We on one level, we are individual beings, moving through the world as autonomous beings. And at the same time, we are intimately interwoven with everyone else, with everything else. You just think about the breath moving into and out of the body. Every single person who's tuning into this right now, every single person in our lives, every stranger on this planet, we are all breathing the same air. It is recycling through all of us, and just through the breath, we can imagine or sense into our innate interconnectedness with all that is. And so that awareness, even if it's not rational or even if it's not always present, it's inside of us. It's always there. So thank you for bringing that to light, Bhavna. Thank you so much for all of your comments. Chair said, I'm curious if you ever begin your metta practice with yourself and then offer it out to the world. Yeah, so again, that's actually typically how I start metta practice, whether I'm guiding it or just for myself. I start inwards and then I expand outwards. That works for me. But I know that a lot of people, as I mentioned, struggle to connect with that compassion for themselves right off the bat. And it can help to sense into somebody that we love, that we care for, to act as a foundation, or a place to more readily connect with our capacity for compassion. And then slowly that compassion grows as we extend it a bit wider and wider, and then circling around to bring it back to ourselves. So there's no right or wrong with this. I just invite everyone to sense into what works for you. And if you're ever doing this type of practice, and it does begin with the self, and it feels difficult, sense into that with curiosity, compassion for that difficulty, and that might be a sign that there is, more self-compassion work to be done. I mean, we can all use self-compassion, but that could be a little bit of insight into what might be needed for you. So great question, Cherish. Thank you. Yeah, Tanya said, Babatunde, that's a wonderful idea for all folks that must endure stressful situations. Amen. Absolutely. Bhavna also said, I agree, we need this practice to balance out and alleviate the fear predominant in our lives. Yeah. Yeah, when we are fearful or stressed, it is so easy to build walls around ourselves. Fear brings us into fight, flight, freeze. And it makes us want to protect ourselves. And when we are so focused on trying to protect ourselves, well, there's a lot that goes on there, but one, we can forget that we are supported in so many ways and we are protected in so many ways when we are so focused on protecting ourselves. We can also start to see what is outside of us as bad or wrong or threatening, and then that impacts our actions and how we go forward, how we engage in the world. So by alleviating, as you say, or bringing awareness to softening the fear that lives in the thinking mind and coming into the heart, we can find a greater sense of trust and a stronger capacity to connect with other beings, and to move forward with love and strength and resilience. So thank you for sharing that. Diane said, thank you so much. We could do this so easily on a daily basis. Just have to carve out the time to do it and be kind to ourselves. Absolutely. And we can, I think this one was probably 25 minutes long or so, and we don't have to, always do this lengthy of a practice. We can also weave, loving kindness, these loving prayers into 5 minutes of our day, going through this with however much time we have in a given day to do it. We could start our morning with a prayer. In fact, I'm going to see if I, on Insight Timer, have a morning peace and compassion prayer, which some of you might be interested in if you want to weave this into more of your daily experience. I can't remember how long this meditation is. I think it's just 3 minutes, 20 seconds. But I think it's a nice way to start the day, to ground ourselves in that energy of compassion. So yeah, it's shared there for those that are interested. It's in the live stream thread on YouTube. It's on Facebook, and I just shared it in LinkedIn, so it'll be one of the newest comments. Tanya said, how often do you do these? So every week I lead a different type of meditation. But so the meditations that I do themselves are weekly. Loving kindness is, I don't know, once every month or two. But again, for those that weren't here right in the beginning, I will be going on maternity leave in a few weeks. So I believe, unless the baby decides to arrive early, August 11th should be the last live stream that I do. So we have 3 more together. But after I am gone, Sarah May will continue to lead her live stream sessions on Mondays at 8 a.m. Pacific. So you can also join her, same channel, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Tony said, try to reconnect with the heart spark of my husband, with whom we have been distant lately, and try to share the love spark connection. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for honoring where there has been distance. It reminds me actually, another practice I would love to offer for those that resonate with it. When my partner first and I were together, we've really strengthened our means of communication and our capacity to listen mindfully. But in the beginning, it was difficult. And one of the practices that we did a few times wasn't even a formal practice, but when I recognized that we were getting nowhere, that we were both, caught in our own story of what happened, disconnected from the heart, I would often say, can we just pause and take 1 minute to connect with the heart? That's it. And then we would come back in that minute, and the energy of that difficult conversation would pretty much always have shifted. Well, it would always shift, sometimes to a larger degree, sometimes to a lesser one, but there was always a positive shift. So I think, in difficult conversations, especially when you're really close to someone and you can comfortably say, like, can we just take a moment to check in with the heart? I think that is invaluable practice, and can really help to pause, to balance, and reset the mind. Doesn't mean the conversation will flow super easily from that point on, but it will. It may shift something. I found that it shifts something. Tanya said, someone dear to me needs to release resentment towards another. I see so much pain that I think this would really help. Yeah, this is a beautiful practice for those that are open to it. There can be a lot of resistance to feel compassion, and that's why I think it's important when we are doing this practice and when we're calling to mind somebody that we have difficulties with. It's so important, if we're a beginner to this practice, to start where the difficulty is not so strong. Otherwise, we might completely push away the meditation entirely. But I think it's really important to slowly build up our capacity to offer care and compassion to people that we struggle with. But yeah, lovely reflection, Tanya. Tony, really great for evoking the passions of mine and others, and thank you for the mindfulness. Beautiful. Bhavna said, this practice, when done, often kicks in when in first responder type of stress automatically. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That compassion is innately there. Speaking of dogs, my dog has just wandered in. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Bhavna. Tanya said, I have Addison's disease, and had I learned this in childhood, I believe I wouldn't have it. It's a stress-related illness. I was raised in a very chaotic mess. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tanya. Sounds very, very difficult. I often wonder, had I been exposed to practices like mindfulness, meditation, self-compassion in childhood, how would that shift? If for any of us, how would that shift the trajectory of things? But it's important to note that, we're here now and we can practice now and see what that opens up for us. But thank you so much for sharing your story, and I am so glad that this practice resonated with you. Wendy said, I tend to have greater compassion for others than for myself. My challenge is setting boundaries. What's the difference between feeling compassion and feeling obligated to be responsible for another? That is a wonderful question. And it brings up such a valid point that compassion is not about being boundaryless. I remember someone once said to me, we were talking about the chakras and how each chakra, for those that are familiar with the chakra system, can be either too open, too active, or too closed and too little activity. And this person asked, can the heart chakra be too open? And with everything, it's all about balance, healthy boundaries are necessary to be compassionate, because the compassion also has to be extended towards ourselves. So for instance, feeling obligated to fix or be responsible for another consider the weight that that puts on us if we are the person experiencing that. If we feel that obligation to fix or to take responsibility for others, is that nurturing our own needs? In practice, this can be a fine, the boundary line, in other words, is not always so clear. But I think over time, as we practice this and we find balance between compassion for others and compassion for ourselves, offering consideration and care for other people's needs and for our own in equal measure, then we can dance through these difficult situations to find out what is genuinely compassionate and where am I not taking care of my own needs, but also where might my intentions to fix or be responsible for someone else, where might those tendencies not actually be in service to another person? Sometimes, like, compassion is also fierce at times. It's not always soft and gentle. I mean, it's always heart-based, it's always loving, but sometimes that love is fierce. And so I think that's something worth remembering. And I think Kristen Neff talks a lot about fierce compassion. So that might be something worth looking into. Fierce Compassion by Kristen Neff. So I hope that helps. Thank you for sharing that question, Wendy. It's a fantastic question that I think so many can relate to. Sue said, thanks, learned a lot. Goodbye. Thank you, Sue. Cherish said, we can say these phrases as we brush our teeth, wash hands, face, washing dishes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, loving kindness and self-compassion, compassion for others can be woven into our lives all the time, at any time. Thank you, Tanya, for joining, for your congratulations. Bhavna said, it sounds selfish, but the more we practice loving kindness for ourselves, the more the same energy comes back to us. Win-win. Absolutely. And that's another, you raise another great point, that exposes this myth that self-compassion is selfish. Self-compassion does not mean we stop considering or caring for or acting in loving ways towards others. And in fact, the more that we're able to take care of ourselves and honor our own needs, the more we're able to give that to other people as well. So thank you for sharing that. And Tony said, thank you for that. Take a moment and connect from the heart reminder. Absolutely. One of my favorite, ways to soften when the mind is taking over, or in difficult conversations, as we spoke about. But thank you all so much for your engagement, for your practice. I feel some kind of shift from this session. I mean, every session is beautiful, but something really beautiful is sitting with me after this practice and this discussion. And it really feels like the ripple. It's as if I can really sense the ripple effect of our meeting together today. and how we will each be carrying this forward into the rest of our day and our lives. And again, it's a practice. It's not something we do once and are done with. But I'm feeling, I can feel the beautiful energy coming off of this practice and the sharings and the reflections. So thank you all so much. Again, I will be here for at least 2, but probably 3 more Thursdays. And each week we'll do something different. It's always nice to see familiar names pop up in the chat. So if you'd like to join me, I would love to connect with you. Cherish, yes, very familiar name, beautiful Sangha here. Thank you, Gillian, and everyone for sharing. Many blessings to you all. And Bhavna said, collective positive energy grows in magnitude. Absolutely. So yes, hopefully I'll connect with you all in some way at some other time. But regardless, thank you so much for your practice today or tonight. And I wish you a beautiful rest of whatever is left in your day, whether you're just beginning or you're wrapping up. If you're in the heat, a hot place, please take it easy. Take care of yourself. And I wish you all well. So thank you so much, everyone. Take care.